Lord Pearson of Rannoch in the House of Lords.
That's right, and he has been very active and vocal in defense of Tommy Robinson. Why does he feel like this is an important thing to lend his voice to?
Well, Lord Pearson has had Tommy in the Lords, House of Lords, a number of times over the last couple of months and got in massive issues with it. From Lord Pearson's side, Tommy is raising issues which no one else is raising on Islam, discussing it, is discussing issues on the grooming gang scandal and what's been happening on that. And we've had Labour MPs say that up to 1 million girls have been raped. So we have to discuss this. And then obviously sees Tommy as obviously having a past, walked away from that and now wanting to do something positive, certainly in the area of journalism, highlighting these issues. And Lord Pearson certainly has thought, well, if I can help Tommy in doing some of these things, then that'll be worthwhile. And obviously Tommy is doing it on a different stage than Lord Pearson. Lord Pearson obviously in the Lords raising questions regularly in the House of Lords, where Tommy is doing it on the street. And to me it's a perfect match of focusing on the same issues but from different angles and different stages. And I know from Lord Pearson's experience, if he can drop some, I guess, words of advice or wisdom or guidance, then brilliant. It's a good partnership.
Excellent. And so what is it about Tommy's situation now that is so unique?
It's very confusing, certainly to the general public. Lord Pearson's side, you've got someone who is massively raising this issue and seemingly there's a clampdown on this. Obviously Tommy has, the state has used any opportunity to silence him, from being thrown in jail to having different court orders on him, anything they can do raiding his house to shut it down. So there's something that Tommy is saying that is worrying people at the top. Obviously he's touching a raw nerve, and it seems to be that he's raising issues of truth that no one wants to talk about. With the grooming gang scandal, it's amazing that Tommy can get put in jail for discussing what's happening, and somehow either the media or the courts or the government want it to be completely silent about what's happening. And if Tommy's not raising this, then who is? We've had different politicians raise it, but most of them have backed away. And Tommy is like this, like a dog with a bone. He's just pushing because he's not getting the answers he's getting, which is what the public want and why there's a massive amount of respect and admiration for him on the ground. Because here's someone who's taking on the establishment, fighting for what he believes in, raising these issues and getting stonewalled as he does. But the issue with Tommy is it's very difficult to understand the legal side, but how can someone go from being arrested to finding themselves in jail in a matter of hours? I mean, as a British citizen, that's crazy. These things normally take weeks. From what I understand, not having been there, but where his lawyer was told, actually, you don't need to come, so was given wrong advice by the court, and then Tommy was given a lawyer there from the court, and everything was pushed through. Tommy pleading guilty, but then not being allowed to contact his lawyer or having proper legal advice. So something doesn't add up, and anyone can see that. So Lord Pearson is just trying to raise these issues of saying something doesn't add up. We need to ask questions on this. But again, when you touch some of the issues that Tommy's touched at, you're not allowed to ask questions, and you end up in the slammer if you do. So yeah.
It's a scary situation, honestly. So what is Lord Pearson, or what are people doing within the system to fight for Tommy? Because I know there's a lot of people marching and doing this sort of stuff, on the streets. But what's happening, actually inside the system on Tommy's behalf?
Well, I know there have been massive street demonstrations, and Lord Pearson, having been the leader of UKIP before, and obviously as leader of UKIP, doing a lot of the street demo side. And talk to Lord Pearson regularly. So they're in contact. So it's good to have the connection between what's happening on the street and what's happening at different levels. But certainly with Lord Pearson, he wrote a letter. I thought I would have to nudge him, and he had done it off his own bat, saying, wow, this shows where his commitment is to Tommy, where he wrote a letter to Sajid Javid, who's the Home Secretary, to say that if anything happens in prison, Lord Pearson will hold him responsible and he will start legal proceedings. Wow, it's a black and white there, quite a forceful letter of saying he is in your hands, this is what's happened to him previously, he's your responsibility to look after. And the last time he was in jail, he was put in a wing with Muslims who obviously wanted rid of him. And that's what will happen. But the problem is, it's not just those prisoners who want that. It actually seems to be the state that wants rid of him and will do anything to do that. I don't know why the state will not discuss openly. Lord Pearson, he had lunch with Tommy 3-4 weeks ago. Massive criticism. How dare you invite this person in? Why not? Lord Pearson's line on this is, can we talk about Islam? I just want to talk about it. Let's have a debate. Tommy on one side, others on the other side. Let's understand. This is what we do in Britain. You discuss a rational discussion. But that's not allowed. Lord Pearson got massive criticism for inviting Tommy, and he's just, why? What's the problem? Come, you should come and have lunch with him. So he invites others to have lunch with Tommy to discuss things, and of course they ignore that email and they don't respond. So the letter to Sajid Javid, Lord Pearson is trying to get some questions down. The frustrating thing is because Parliament is in recess, so this week they're not sitting, because it would have been an opportunity for Lord Pearson to ask questions on the floor of the House. But he is looking at putting down written questions and will try and raise it in the House. Because whatever you think of Tommy's background, you must agree with him on the issue of free speech, and you must agree with him on the issue that you can criticise a religious belief and discuss it. And that's what Tommy's done. And you must agree with him that you cannot have groups of men, predominantly Muslim men, more or less all Muslim men, predominantly Pakistani men, according to the Quilliam report that we've seen in many other reports. So don't take it from me, take it from those reports. But you cannot have this happening and the state turning a blind eye for 20 years, which is what happened. So, but Lord Pearson has certainly raised this a number of times about the grooming gang scandal, why no one has been prosecuted, why we are not having proper inquiries instead of whitewash ones. So he's raised that numerous times and got a response that basically bats it away and says this is for the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, or this is for that police force, so we can't comment, or the child sexual abuse happens in all areas of the community, not just in the Muslim. Lord Pearce says, I wasn't saying it just happens, I'm saying these are the cases we want to focus on and discuss. So he's asking those questions I get in Parliament, and the government show how fearful they are of this. That they just bat down the answers and don't get them. So that's what he's doing at the moment, and we'll see if we can get someone to look at what's happened to him legally and basically come back, because there's bits here and there of what's happened, and to me as a non-legal person it doesn't make sense and something smells.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. It's great to have somebody of Lord Pearson's stature, on his side and in his corner. So for people watching, just sort of to finish off here, what can they do to either show support to Lord Pearson and his support of Tommy, or what can they do to help Tommy in these sort of trying times of his?
Well, there have been different street protests, so go ahead and join one. There's a petition I know online, a Change.org petition, which is over 500,000 signatures in days. It's a huge support. So go and sign that. It will take you 30 seconds. But possibly, as a British citizen, you can write to your MP. You can say, someone has been jailed. They've been raising the issue of the grooming gangs. As an MP, do you want this issue raised? Do you want to highlight it, the evils that have happened to children, or are you complicit in this and want to cover it up? So certainly write the MP lobby, because if 500,000 people have signed that, if even 10% of that actually wrote to their MP or go along to Parliament, they can go. Any member, any British citizen can go to Parliament, can go to the lobby area and just say, I want to talk to my MP. I want to raise this issue. So do that, because if people do not rise up, and if they, my worry is that people will rise up and it'll turn to violence, because they're so angry at being ignored by the system. And we don't want violence, we want change in a non-violent way. So let's hope that happens. But we need to hold our politicians to account and say, we're not going to have this, and we want changes in the system so that those actually who turn a blind eye to girls getting sexually abused, then those people are punished, because the moment they walk scot-free, that's how it seems. So, go to change.org, go to that petition, lobby your MP, and make yourself aware of what's happening. You go online, you won't read it in the mainstream media, but go online, INFOWARS, you find out about this, you go on, just go on Twitter and look at some of the tweets, and you'll begin to understand what's happening. Join in, put your point of view across, and raise this issue with those people around you, because there are many people who just don't get what's happening, because they sit and read their newspaper in the morning. This is not in that. So tell them, have you seen INFOWARS? Have you looked at these tweets? Send them stuff and just highlight what's happening with Tommy, with your friends, because we all have a circle of influence, and if we can highlight what's happening with them, then we can raise this issue further. So, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.